So to start, let's just do a little bit of breathing, a little bit of centering, and take a seat on the mat. And I'd like to invite you to choose a seated posture that works for you. So if you would rather have one leg out, both legs out long, maybe wide or narrow, if you want to have the legs folded to sit in more of a meditation position, that's all of your choice, as long as you're comfortable. So once you're in that comfortable seated posture, maybe close your eyes if you feel safe enough to do so, or you can focus on a spot a few feet out in front of you and soften your gaze. And then let that shutting of the eyes or focusing on kind of nothing in front of you help you shift your awareness inward. Notice the length of your spine, maybe sitting a little taller. Give your shoulders permission to rest down a little more, kind of sensing any tightness there that you might be holding on to. And then be aware of your breath, your body moving in 3 dimensions, feeling the expansion of the ribs out to the sides as well as the front of the body. And then maybe send the breath a little deeper if you're ready. Trying to reach the bottom of the lungs, getting a little closer with each inhalation. And each exhalation, maybe adding a little more effort there, pressing the air out, making room for fresh air to come into the lungs. Good. Let's do one conscious deep breath in and out together. So breathe in through the nose. Inhale and fill up. Pause for just a beat and then exhale slowly through the mouth. Good. Now notice if you can soften your shoulders anymore. Good. If your eyes are still closed, let's open them. Refocus. And then let's just do a little bit of circling with the shoulders around the hips. And being gentle here, feeling into the belly, feeling into the sits bone, pressing into the floor as the weight rotates, redistributes. Notice your back muscles as they stretch, feeling into the elbows as they bend as you circle. Now let's reverse the direction. And just notice how that feels different. Even though you're still moving, you're still circling, the direction might feel maybe a little awkward, a little off, a little tighter, and that's normal. And if it feels right, or when it feels right, go ahead and steady yourself. Let's place the palms behind. If your legs aren't already out in front, let's straighten the legs out in front of you. I'm going to come to the long side of the mat. And then let's bend the knees. Place the feet back on the mat. And start to move from side to side with the knees. And you are welcome to experiment here with what feels best. Maybe the feet need to be closer to the hips or further away. Maybe the feet need to be a little closer together or separated apart a little further. Feel into what's best for you in this moment. Our bodies carry, our history, and we all have different biologies, different lengths of our bone, or little different things about us, internally as well as externally. So we always want to accept those unique parts of us. Good. All right, let's stretch the legs long now. Now that we've loosened up the outer thighs, maybe a little bit of the inner thighs, felt in the belly and the low back. We're going to come into a little wide-legged stretch here, sitting nice and tall, and just bringing the heart forward. So this is naturally going to stretch into the back of the legs. And the object's not to get the heart to the ground. The object is to feel into the stretch. Now you can add a little here by lifting the toes, pointing the toes to the sky, maybe even pressing into the heels, adding to that stretch. And then notice your breathing. If your breathing feels staggered, then just maybe lift off a little bit. Make it a little easier on yourself. The breath is a good way to tune into where the body's at and what you need in the moment. Now let's relax the legs. Bend the right knee. Bring that right heel in towards the groin. And sit as tall as you can here, decompressing the spine. Good. Maybe with that left hand, it's an option here just to reach that left hand down the leg. And then inhale the right arm up. And just sense what you're feeling on that right side. And with the right hip, I'd like to invite you to press down into the right hip. And notice how that adds to the stretch. Steady breath in through the nose, and then exhale, relax that right arm, and maybe lean the heart a little closer to that left knee. Exploring the sensations in your body. Noticing where the tightness is. And once you notice, choosing to relax those muscles. Relax the muscle group. On your next breath in, let go of the stretch. Release, sit nice and tall. Maybe rotate the shoulders over the hips again a little bit. Not quite in a wide circle, just a narrow circle. Letting go and releasing any of the back muscles. And let's switch sides. So bring the left heel in towards the groin. Find length, sitting tall, pressing the top of the head up towards the sky. And then inhale that left arm up. And again, that option to reach down towards the right leg. Weighting the left hip. And then kind of exploring all of that sensation of weighting that left hip, what that brings to the stretch. Take a slow breath in through the nose. And exhale, relax the left arm. And maybe leaning a little more into the right leg. And when you're ready to release this stretch, sit nice and tall. And let's bring both feet back to the mat. And I'd like to invite you to come into a tabletop whenever you're ready. So I just mean coming on to the palms and the knees. And then just start to shift the weight into a circle. And maybe explore this, making it adding a little fun, a little curiosity. I always kind of feel like a kid in some of these stretches. Takes me back to my childhood. Let's reverse the direction of the circle. And then let's move into a table twist. So grounding through your table, let's extend the left leg out to the left side. Those 5 left toes are going to point towards the top of the mat. Inhale that left arm up, opening the chest. On your breath out, let's bend that left elbow. Lift the gaze up towards the sky. And on your next exhale, maybe bring that left palm down if you're ready and move the hips in that circle again. The circle is not going to be as wide as it was with the table, but it's just enough to stretch the inner thigh. And circle the other direction. Feeling the tilt of the pelvis with each circulation of the hips. Good. All right, let's come out of this table twist and move into a pigeon pose. So we're going to bend the left knee, bring the calf towards the center of the mat. And with those back right toes, maybe scooch that leg a little longer, moving the knee a little further away from the left foot. Now, if you choose, you can stay tall with the heart lifted, the palms grounded. Really opening up the right side of the hip and compressing the left side of the hip. You also have the option to walk the palms forward, come onto the elbows. Or if it feels better to you, you can rest the head on top of the forearms. And in the next couple of breaths, let's bring the palms to the mat. Slowly and gently coming out of this stretch. So tuck those back right toes maybe. Lift the knee, pull it forward so it's easier to come back into your tabletop posture. Now let's move the hips from side to side, just stretching the outer parts of the thigh. And take your time. Just noticing the stretched muscles. Maybe sensing the blood flowing back into those parts that you've stretched. All right, let's table twist to this side. So the right foot is going to come out and inhale the right arm up, coming into your twist. Take a steady breath in, and as you exhale, bend that right elbow, right hand on the hip, and lifting your gaze towards the sky. continuing to observe your breath throughout your stretching. Inhale slowly and exhale. Let's ground the palm and move the hips in that circle with the legs extended. And just a reminder, it's not going to be a huge range of motion here, the tips tilting from side to side. Check in, just make sure that this range of motion feels right to you. And coming to a stop with that rotation when it feels right to you, we're going to come into that long pigeon stretch. So I'd invite you to bring that right knee forward when you're ready. Scoot the left leg back a little further. And gently coming into your hip opener on this side. Noticing which side is tighter. And observing anything that maybe you didn't notice before. Getting curious about the sensation. And if you're ready to come out of this pose, and if your heart is closer to the ground, let's lift the head and the heart. Bring the palms closer to the hips. And just like we did a moment ago, gently coming out of that hip opener, moving the hips from side to side, and then adding that circular motion from tabletop. And from here, maybe stretching out and laying long. One of my favorite things to do, especially after standing or sitting or a kneeling stretching practice, is to lay long with the body. Take 2 or 3 deeper breaths and enjoy, kind of relish that feeling of surrendering your weight to the mat, to the ground, to the earth. And then taking as long as a rest as you need. Thank you for sharing this practice with me today. Sending you peace and gratitude. Namaste.